land, world of the worlds, all my social media land. Welcome to my little blog space where I can let things out and, speak from my mind as a Black trans woman. Welcome to this space. Of course, continue respecting this space. It's my own personal blog. And as promised, what we're going to be talking about today is exploitation of Black and brown trans people. And how people need to be visible about that. I'm going to just start it like this. And for all my allies out there who are unaware, because surprisingly, there are people that don't know what exploitation looks like, even when their peers are doing it. So I'll give you a rundown. And again, disclaimer, when I speak from experience. These are things that I've experienced in my life, and these are things that are, going on around me. So when you have a group that is exploiting people of color, white people specifically exploiting people of color, what you will see is, and tokenizing goes along in this. It starts off with tokenizing. So what they do is they pick through our community. They pick through the marginalized communities. Again, right now, the trans community that I'm focusing on. The trans community of color, that is one of the most marginalized communities around the country, as we all know. One of the, like, when we talk about marginalization, trans people of color are at like the bottom of that barrel, and I'm in that barrel too. So, but when you look at this, you'll see this entity tokenizing this person of color, this trans person of color. And what they do is they give them gifts. They buy them things. They put them on platforms they would never be, without them, having their name a part of conversations, in elite white spaces, predominantly. And what they do is they spotlight this Black person. And they do that for a few reasons. They do that to cover their behind, so no one says, "Oh, you're not diverse," or something like that, or you're not, you don't include all. That's what they do. So they tokenize them in that fashion. So stay with me. They have them a part of these elite spaces. They give them everything they dreamed of while they're learning from that person of color. They are learning from that trans person of color. They are taking notes. They are jotting down the ideas that are coming from that trans person of color, and they are using it and putting their name on it. Exploitation. And it's sad, and I'll say this, it's sad within my own community that we are so marginalized that before we awaken to what's going on around us, we will be in this mode of being on top of the world because someone is giving us the attention that we have been wanting for so long. And someone is giving it to you, and they seem to have, the best interest in the world. They want us to rise up. They want us to change minds and, all this stuff. But in reality, they could care less. Look at the history of people, of companies and spaces that exploit and tokenize people of color. Look at these people. Look at how, and you'll see over time how they have a tokenized Black person for a little bit. Then it doesn't work out because that person of color woke up at some point. So then they pick someone else. And then that person of color wakes up and they're like, no, this isn't for me. They're using me. They're just trying to get my ideas. They have no interest in mine, of my life. And then, when they wake up, they pick another one. So this happens over and over and over and over, even unknowingly to, my people of color, at times within these spaces. You have to realize that, this world that we live in, it's a cutthroat world. It's a cutthroat world. And unless you're educated on certain things, unless you involve yourself in certain things, you're not going to know about it. And what needs to happen are, those peers that are sitting around watching this happen, they need to start speaking up on it, right? So, like, this can actually be acknowledged. Tokenism is wrong. Exploitation is completely wrong. Benefiting off of the marginalization of a community is wrong. When you start to make money off of the people you're supposed to be serving, and not even giving money back to the people you're supposed to be serving, well, there's an issue. There's an issue. Trans women of color have been exploited in so many ways. And it's a shame that that exploitation stretches all the way into the realms, into the spaces, into the areas that we go to ask for help. You know, to feel loved, to feel appreciated, to be given solutions for this marginalization. And the reason that there is no solution, there is a solution, but the reason the solution of marginalization is not given to us is because these spaces have no interest in permanence. They have no interest in permanence. They need black and brown people. They need marginalized people to keep this space thriving. Yeah, they can have their own, people there, and that's great. However, when people write for grants, especially for grants that are targeting people of color, which those grants are a lot more money. They offer a lot more money, which is ironic, right? The grants for black and brown queer people and, black and brown anything is worth mad money, in the grant world. And what people do is they'll try so hard to reach into the community of color. And they're unsuccessful a lot, but they'll still keep applying for those grants. They'll still keep saying they are serving people of color when they only might got one or two people of color, that are in their space or that they're really serving. And it's horrible. It's horrible. And I want to go on the record to say, not all organizations do this. There are, plenty of white spaces. And when I say white spaces, I mean white-led, predominantly white-led spaces. And, not all of them are doing this. There are some that are truly have the interest in our community. But I question you to this, good people. I question you to this. Can we get to a point where shelters are not needed, where food banks are not needed, where all these things that we are out here doing for our community, can we get to a time where that is not needed? And I say, yes, we can. We can. And this is how. Marginalization did not happen by accident. Marginalization continues as a class system. And those at the bottom of that class system, voices don't matter, according to the people at the top. They don't matter. They'll give us a little bit of crumbs, here or there to shut us up for a little bit. Here's a little party. Here's a pizza party. They'll give us that for a little bit. And when that runs out and we start complaining, they're looking at us like, oh, you ungrateful black and brown people. How dare you? How dare you keep us marginalized? How dare me, being a young black 12-year-old trans girl, living on the streets, having to do sex work to eat, and sleep, and find somewhere to be, again, 12 years old. How dare you? How dare you, communities? How dare you, America? How dare you be okay with me, my sisters, my brothers, them and they homeless and having to sleep with some old, nasty, disgusting pervert who wants to touch on a young black and brown body? How dare you? How dare you? So when we ask ourselves about marginalization, understand communities that we can end it. We can end it. And we don't have to go through huge corporations, or um, those entities that target minority groups. We can do it as a community of people, grabbing onto these groups that are, so dismarginalized, allies actually doing accomplice work. And I hope we've all seen that accomplice video thus far. I'll put the video in the link to the video in the comments here, so you guys can check that out. And it just discussed replacing the word ally, with accomplice, and that's what we need. Because this marginalization and this capitalism and tokenism towards Black and brown trans people are not helping us. It's not helping us. It's making us fight. It's making us fight. It's making us separate. It's dividing us in a community. If a group, use this for example, and I'm going to get off here because I don't want to be on here all night. A few things to do. But if this group, in this mere example, this group of trans people, Black and brown trans people who are struggling, hardly being able to eat, nowhere to live, living on the couch, living under a bridge, these group of trans people see one or two trans people being put on a platform, that group of trans people are going to envy those people that are being tokenized. And when I say envy, I mean, why can't they be in that position? Why is only one or two or three being set on this platform like they are better than the rest? And that's why it's so important for me to stay humble with who I am and never forget where I come from, and don't change, and know that, I'm out here, I'm down here, struggling alongside my sisters, with them in the same community as them, and being involved with them, and it's the moment that you forget where you come from as a Black person, is where you lose track on those who still need saving. So we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge how tokenism is dangerous and violent, not only for the person of color that is being tokenized, but also for the community that is watching this tokenism happen. It's violent. It separates us. So, as long as they're on the same page about that, I just want people to start recognizing tokenism, start recognizing exploitation, start recognizing, in these white spaces, who say they have the best interest but are continuously tokenizing Black trans people, having them in that space only to benefit them. Only to benefit them. Because they've been accused and set with proof that they are not, including or acknowledging Black and brown people. So what those spaces do is they get smarter. They get smarter. They think, they actually sit down and have conversations. How can we put our hands in that community? Who can we grab? Who can we snatch up? Who are people talking about right now? Who's that number one trans person, in the community right now? Who's that? And they do that shit. They do that shit. They have those conversations. So I want y'all to be aware of that. And start acknowledging that when you're sitting in a space and are discussing Black or brown people, and they're tokenizing a person. That's why it's so important for Black and brown people to establish our own dominance in mind. To understand that we are strong, we are powerful, we are beautiful. We can have our own spaces. We can have have our own spaces. Invite who we want to those spaces. We can do that. So we don't we can say no to those on top. It's okay to say no. It's hard when you become such a dependent, for these groups, and you're afraid. You're afraid, like, if I say no, they're going to stop giving me this, or they're going to stop giving me that, or my check is going to stop, or I'm not going to be able to do this or do that, because we've been such a dependent for so long. And as marginalized people, it's scary to step outside that box. It's scary. It's scary to step out. It's scary to get off of food stamps. It's scary to get off of Social Security. It's scary to challenge those people that are giving us crumbs and no one else is doing it. That's scary. It's scary, but you can do it. You'll be hungry for a little bit. Trust me, I'm living testimony of that to that. You'll be hungry for a little bit, but I've been hungry all my goddamn life. I've been fighting all my goddamn life, so I know how to fast. I know how to fast. I know how to wait my turn. And when you gain that humbleness in your heart, in your mind, when you gain that spirit of just being humble enough to have nothing, to know that you have to continue fighting for that, and that nothing is given to you, and anything that is given to you for no reason, question it. Question the attentions. So, yeah, I'm not going to be on here for too much longer. I thank you guys for watching this. If you have any more questions, feel free to hit up the comments. If you want me to make a video about something, I'm always open to that. That's what opened the doors for this video. I'm always willing to talk about things that are trans-specific, are Black trans-specific, because I like to speak from experience, No one can really challenge you on your own experience. And these are things that go on and that have gone on and are going on in my personal life, and things that go on in my sister's lives, So, yeah, again, thank you guys for continue following, our page. Look us up on Facebook, Sisters PGH, and, continue being a voice for trans women. All my trans sisters out there, hold strong. We just lost another one of our sisters today, July 4th. Or I got the news today, July 4th. I believe it happened a few days ago. And, I sent my deepest condolences out, to her family. And just hope that my sister rests with God. It seems like, we're losing each other left and right. And especially going through this crap, we have to go through, internally. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Keep a lookout for the videos. My next video is going to be a hot and spicy topic. So, I hope you guys are here for that. And have a good day. For those who celebrate the July 4th, hope you had a good day. All right, peace.